Okay, so we can start this second part of the webinar organized under the Horizon Europe project BRIDGESMEs and organized by the CNR National Research Council Institute of Heritage Science. The webinar is on the topic of immersive futures, extended reality, digitalization, and the rise of the metaverse. And especially we focus on cultural and creative industries and tourism industries. So today we follow the first meeting with several speakers and companies who were talking about different applications of emerging technologies in a context of Industry 5.0. To help and support companies today at European level, but also globally, of course, on developing new services, new products that can be really more competitive and also more human-centered and useful for people. So today we have a list of valued speakers. I will introduce them one by one while doing the different presentations. So first of all, I would start with the first session on research projects and infrastructures from theory to practice. So the first speaker is our colleague Augusto Palombini. He is a researcher at CNR Institute of Heritage Science in Rome, and he will speak about metaverse or metaverses and cultural heritage in a changing world. So, Augusto, please, the floor is yours. You can also introduce yourself if you want.
I'm Augusto Palombini. I'm a researcher at the Institute of Cultural Heritage of Italian National Research Cultural Heritage Science at the Italian National Research Council, and I'm an archaeologist as concerning my studies, but I work mainly on digital archaeology and digital storytelling and the ways of enhancing and valorization of cultural heritage. In this sense, in this perspective, in the recent years, I'm just dealing with AI applications and metaverses also. I'll try to give an overview of the situation of the Italian situation application for the applications connected to metaverse and cultural heritage. Account the general situation we are facing in this moment. Above all, concerning with a huge problem, with a very important problem, which is the massive digitization of global cultural heritage, which is some way connected to the metaverse topic. So I start to share my screen. Metaverse has always been a dream of human being, in the sense that the dream of reproducing the reality in virtual worlds is some way the aim of the earliest examples of art in antiquity and in prehistory. The idea is to create virtual worlds parallel to our real one, to our life. The word metaverse has been used for the first time in the Snow Crash novel by Neil Stephenson in '92. This is a well-known information, but maybe not a lot of people know that the earliest attempt to describe something like a metaverse is in a novel in the 40s, in 1940, by Adolfo Bioy Casares, that is the invention of Morel, and it's a nice novel because it is an attempt of imagining what we call a metaverse in a world without computers, without digital devices, and that is something interesting on how it is conceived. We had a very famous examples of metaverse, that is Second Life, released by the Linden Labs in 2003. That was very famous up to some 20 years ago. And then today afterward we had a lot of online multi-user games which can be considered as metaverses. Then we will be again on this concept. But in the last years we heard about metaverse when Facebook bought Oculus, and the passage he announced the passage to Meta, and then in 2023 when Meta announced about 10,000 layoffs. That seemed to be a sort of delusion, sort of fall of the dream of the metaverse. Meanwhile, in Italy, we had the spread of some examples of metaverses that, connected to cultural heritage, and here you have some examples of that. They are very different kind of applications. And that is because the term metaverse, the word metaverse, is some way ambiguous. It has not a specific meaning. And we will try to go deeper on this topic to understand what we can mean for metaverse behind the use of the word. An interesting thing to be stressed, I think, is that we can imagine closed and open models of metaverse, the frame and the node model, to make an example. Probably the instances we see in the last years to the attempt to create, to imagine a metaverse, the metaverse, in some way were connected to the idea of a great container, a monopolistic container which could, yes, we say monopolize in a way. I was making some examples of the metaverses in Italy that we had in Italy between 2020 and 2022. And there are different kind of metaverses because the same word metaverse is some way ambiguous. And first of all, we can observe that, interestingly, the Italian cultural heritage case studies are going towards an open approach to metaverse. We can intend the different models existing in some way in two possible interpretation: the model of the frame or the node model. That is to say, in the first case, a closed approach where a monopolistic metaverse can absorb, can contain all the possible users and all the possible uses of that can be made of the metaverse. And the second model, which is a net model in which different metaverses are connected each other, and using common paradigms and protocols. Okay. What has changed since 2006 when Second Life was seemed to be the killing application? Well, the two main events are the spread of head-mounted devices, which make easiest to use and to join the virtual worlds, and the spread of digital money and cryptocurrencies that made it very interesting for business perspective to imagine a metaverse in which you can have many commercial transactions and so on. But what is a metaverse? If we look at the classical definition, the Oxford Dictionary says that it is a virtual reality space in which users can interact with a computer-generated environment and other users. But this is a very general definition. Video games are metaverses in this way. All the web-shared environments can be defined as metaverses. Maybe some chats can be metaverses. So we are looking for something more exact, maybe. We can start to understand what we do in a classic metaverse. So people is going to create another kind of applications like social networks or online games. Contents are user created. So you are the product, as is for Instagram, for Facebook, for social networks. But there are some very important differences in this sense, because in a social network, passive users don't need so many skills. They just can browse and see the contents they want, and active users also need just some basic skills, just as taking pictures, taking audios and put them on the web. Otherwise, for the metaverse, some more complex skills are required to join, because also moving in a virtual world is not so simple. It's not so easy. And to be active users, to create the environments, you need to be able to model in 3D and editing and managing complex virtual landscapes. So the potential users are very few in comparison to the ones of a social network, and there is a need of contents. Moreover, the social networks can be enjoyable by different devices, such as the mobile phones. As metaverse to be joined is to be joined in an optimal way, needs to be used through immersive devices, such the head-mounted devices. This means that for using a metaverse, to be on metaverse, you need dedicated time, not only marginal time, as you can do with a mobile phone, as you are in a bus, or as you are working. You need dedicated time, which in our time is a very, very precious coin. We have a very few dedicated time, and this is the reason for which it is not so easy to have success with the metaverse in the way we are conceiving it. On the other hand, cultural heritage is living a particular phase of its history, in which we are going towards a massive digitization of the cultural heritage. We are thinking at the global cultural heritage and its digitization, and this is in line with the metaverse need of high-quality cultural context. So probably cultural heritage metaverses may be protagonists of the phase we are going to face if we will solve some problems connected to the property rights and of the models and some stuff like that. I'm not going deeper on that, because it would be a complex discussion. The Institute of Heritage Science is on track in this, because we are in the last years performing a massive activity of digitization, starting from the dinosaurs with the Paleo Heritage Project, to the Middle Ages, to the prehistory, and to the classical times. Probably this will be something that will feed the metaverses with high quality, high cultural quality contents. And the question is, where are we going? I think we can think at culture and cultural heritage and metaverse as to a cake. And from a commercial point of view, the cake will be smaller than it was supposed to be, for the problems that I have underlined. But cultural heritage will be, in this sense, a favorable field of work, because the digitization will produce a lot of models and quality environments to host a metaverse. In this sense, in comparison to the earliest hypothesis, it is reasonable to suppose that metaverses in archaeology will be probably will be a larger slice of a smaller cake. And this is my conclusion. Thanks a lot, and sorry for the problems of connection.
No problem. Thank you very much, Augusto. It was really very informative and very useful also for the companies and for the professionals that will watch this lesson, this webinar, to really know what is the concept of a metaverse and how cultural heritage can be a part of this different reality, alternative reality.
Of course, I'm available for any curiosity or doubt or something like that. You have my email in the slide.
Thank you very much. You are also invited to share in the chat whatever comment or question you have. And we will have some time at the end for a discussion with all the speakers. So that said, I would thank again Augusto for your presentation, and I would ask to the next speaker to take the floor. The next speaker is Emanuel Demetrescu. He is also a researcher at the CNR ISPC Rome, and he will talk about 3D models from knowledge graphs to develop a cultural heritage metaverse. So still in this topic. So, Emanuel, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So, I'm Emanuel Demetrescu. I'm a researcher, and more than that, I'm from the fieldwork of archaeological domain. Actually, one life ago, I used to work actually on the field in the archaeological excavations. I talk about one life ago because actually the research and also the activities related to digital archaeology also trained me in other directions, coupling the archaeological activity with the digital domain, especially the creation of formal languages and digital tools and the theoretical and methodological links to put together the incredible production of archaeologists on the field with the exploitation, dissemination, and communication of the archaeological record within the digital domain in a wider perspective. So actually, I am in between, let's say. At the same time, I'm stay a lot on the archaeological path. So all the tools, all the methodologies I will going to tell you today are methods and tools usable on the field in real case scenarios. So 3D models from knowledge graph. Actually, the definition of metaverse is something that will be showcased this day by others even better than me. But just to point out the wider framework, it can be considered as a shared three-dimensional digital environment. It's accessible via internet. Users can interact through different embodiments through, for instance, customized avatars. Actually, in the field of cultural heritage, metaverse can be used in very practical scenarios, like exploring historical environments, maybe reconstructed, how likelihood they was in the past, visualize and analyze cultural objects for visible and non-visible data, and more than that, to share scientific interpretation and even to co-create the archaeological and the cultural heritage record in general. For instance, in order to create or revise semantic annotations between researchers. So the user is able to perceive a skin in a perceived virtual reality, just the 3D model that is actually an experience. But the reconstructive knowledge is behind. It's a digital model. This digital model in these days is considered a knowledge graph. The best formal solution we have nowadays is the representation of the information with context, so knowledge graphs. The challenge is pretty simple from a practical point of view, because normally we have a linear progression from domain to domain. The archaeologists work and pass the information to the architectures and so on and so forth, conservation. While when we work within a unified knowledge graph, we have all the information that is interoperable, queryable. Also, the reasoning is transparent because you can separate between the objective information from the interpretation we made on top of it. So actually, we are used to consider the 3D model as a container because, you know, like in the GIS, you use the space like a sort of container to attach your record, your row of your database to a specific object, a capital, an information from a codex or whatever you can think about. Actually, it's not that true in cultural heritage because we have temporal depth. So we can represent the same, exactly the same cultural heritage objects with different 3D models. Here's the 3D model of the Colosseum in 2025. We have the Colosseum in the medieval time when it was a castle, or we can try to figure out exactly how likelihood was the Colosseum when it was inaugurated. So 3 different models to represent the same exactly thing, but in different temporal instances. This is the point. So we can't use one 3D model as a container. So it means that the knowledge graph, the database, is the container. Because knowledge graphs are on the mouth of everyone these days, but they are not understandable. They are very complex, especially when we want to represent them and we want to communicate through knowledge graphs. We as human beings need to spatialize things. So if I ask you where is France, you are able to immediately find it on a map because you know what is Germany or what is Italy. And so you spatialize the information and you look for France. So we need spatialization and context as human beings in order to find an information, and it's very helpful. So if we need to create a geography of the information, in the case of the cultural heritage, we can't rely only in the 3D environment because we just said that the 3D model is not a container. So we need another dimension in order to spatialize, and that dimension is time. Using time, we can draw special kind of graph databases, special kind of graphs that are temporal visualization based. The upper part is the more recent, and the lower part is ancient. This approach can help you a lot on creating the knowledge. You draw the knowledge like a sort of visual map. In a visual map, you just put things according to a geography that has not spatialization, but time spatialization. It's a powerful approach where you put your information on a table and you have all the information under your eyes. So every element in the 3D model is connected to a node in the knowledge graph. And so during your experience in the metaverse, exploring such a 3D model, you are able to interact and query a single object within your 3D environment and land, ideally, in your knowledge of graph on a specific node in order to retrieve all the information that is context-based. What is relevant to this column? And you arrive on a specific point of the knowledge graph and you can collect the information. For instance, the meaning of this column, the material, the height, the length, and all the information related to it. So from a practical point of view, this kind of knowledge graph are coupled with 3D modeling. So even two different users can create this information. Augusto just introduced the aspect of creating the information for the metaverse. That is a challenging question. So we know that the data creators in cultural heritage is the community of practice. The creators of the records are the archaeologists, the epigraphists, the history of arts, architects, conservator scientists, and so on and so forth. They are in charge of creating the information, and they can create directly within a graph approach this information. Exactly the idea. So starting from a very accurate digitization of the context, that is the digital replica, that is a visual substitute for the real object, we can have an autoptic portable laboratory. In other words, we are able to inspect and to analyze even in a remote approach, not being on site, but in a second moment after the excavation, we are able to go back and experience it with a head-mounted display. After this, the context is segmented according to time, highlighting what is previous and what is after in order to decide what we want to represent, the ancient time, the medieval time, how likelihood was in a moment in time. And we do it according to a segmentation. We divide it in stratigraphies, in moment in time, actions on the object, destruction, modification, adding, removal, and so on and so forth. So it's all the temporal depth that we can express with a simplified grammar. In this case, it's the extended matrix formal language that is able to declare the existence and space-time address of the elements and to track the provenance for every element included in the knowledge graph. It's a simplified grammar in order to stenograph the reconstruction of an object during the time. So, starting from sources, connecting the interpretation, arriving to the representation, even with alternative time branches of alternative reconstruction of the past. For every element, it's possible to attach meaningful information from the function, the material, the existence, even subjective information, like the meaning. The process is a circular process, putting together the information and the knowledge graph and the 3D model. In the end, it comes with a reconstructive database. This database is formalized, we say, through the extended matrix formal language to represent the reconstruction for every element, for every relevant epoch in time. This formal language is not only a grammar, but is also a framework of tools, open source tools that are available to the community to be used by experts in order to create these knowledge graphs. Basic digital tools are extended matrix tool for Blender, that is a well-known 3D authoring tool to model 3D models. A 3D survey collection, that is a suite of tools to improve the 3D survey on the field with photogrammetry, laser scanner, and so on and so forth. And two web apps, that one is MVIC, and the other one is the last just introduced, that is Heriverse, that is the Heritage Metaverse, and it's the point of arrival of our communication today. So the framework is very diverse with a lot of different tools according to different workflows. Are you an epigraphist? You will work with a specific subset of tools. Are you an archaeologist? You will use others, and so on and so forth. So the idea of the web app is to explore in a liquid way, using a smartphone, tablet, a desktop-based application, or using head-mounted display. You can explore moving in different epochs, sort of teleporting in different epochs, and for every epoch you can retrieve the information, the cultural heritage information related to every element. Here it's the process of building creating the record that is created from the survey and from the documentation of the excavation, exporting it through an add-on of Blender, and publishing it online with all the information connected. And after, in the web app, you just explore retrieving the information. Let's have a look on the Heriverse, that is the new entry of the Extended Matrix framework. That is a web app built on the Atom JavaScript framework. Atom is a well-known framework to build liquid web apps for 3D visualization and inspection. Works on multiple devices, as we said. Is part of the Italian Digilab of IRIS, the European Research Infrastructure for Heritage Science. And it's the result of the European Collaborative Cloud H2ISC. This web app works in tandem with Blender, so from the community of practice to a wider dissemination on the net. It's connected to the general H2ISC ecosystem, where you log in and have access to several web apps and services. You can share all the collections that are inside your private or in a public scene. You can just create new scene, public or private. That if they are private, you can just share them with colleagues or other experts. And you upload the result of what you have prepared in Blender using Extended Matrix tool. When you are inside the web app, as we said, the idea is that the 3D model, the 3D experience, is an instance of the knowledge graph. What does it mean? It means that when you click on a specific epoch, the knowledge graph is inspected and the representation of the 3D model is deployed. In other words, the knowledge graph, the 3D scene is a query in time and space on the knowledge graph that is serialized in a JSON file. So the exploration of one of more graphs is possible through this application. For every element, it's possible to inspect all the information that is behind. And more than that, it's possible to select more context. So all the connectors of the knowledge graph having access to a granularity that you choose on the fly in the web app. If you want to have information regarding to the people that worked on that project, for instance, you just add the connector of the people involved, and you will have for every element who made, who interpreted, who collected the information, and so on and so forth. Graph approach, when you switch on multiple graphs, you are able to load multiple models, and where you have, when you create, for instance, a city, you work, for instance, in an ancient city, you can load the different monuments and load them at runtime, and making chronological filters to represent them in different moments in time. Last but not least, it's covered with a lot of tools to manage the model. I'm almost there. We can edit, eliminate, add nodes from the knowledge graph. And more than that, you can connect load from the net, from the web, making some searches online. You can find the new information from other repositories and just add the 3D models inside your scene. This process is possible with a knowledge graph behind the 3D model. That is, we say that serialized JSON, where there is no separation between 3D models and semantic representation. So we have just one knowledge graph that is the responsible of creating the 3D environment and the metaverse. Why this approach is so different? Because when we work with one single knowledge graph, we will have a web app that is able to represent everything is inside the knowledge graph. It's completely neutral against what is the information behind. So in order to create this knowledge graph, this serialized model, we made in the project a specific Blender, a specific Python library that is 3D graphy. That is, you can install it via the regular PIP install of the modules for Blender. Sorry, for Python. Here is the last feature of Eriverse, that is the collaborative environment, when you can just share a link with other users and having access and exploring together a portion of the knowledge graph represented here within the metaverse, and also with the ability to share. In this case, you can share a code with the sharing of your screen, of your computer. Maybe you have two screens on your computer, and you just you are able to show a screen of your computer in order to show what are the resources you used for the reconstructive process. So,
Emanuel, just to let you know that you have a couple of minutes more.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Just this is a wider representation. I'm linking this presentation to another presentation where you will find all the details of this approach that was presented at the Digital Heritage 2025 with the Basilica Iulica digital ecosystem, and there is all the process with all the tools involved, where you can find all the information to arrive to create the Heritage Digital Twin. The backbone of this approach is this knowledge graph that is read and wrote by the 3D graphy Python library that is able to connect all the ecosystem. This 3D graphy Python library is totally open. It's a GPL3 project with all the code available online. So has API reference in order to include it in different projects. And in other words, you can reuse it, for instance, in Revit, in Unreal Engine, or in other tools in order to read and write this kind of knowledge graphs that are suitable to enable a metaverse experience. Thank you so much. This project will continue to be developed within the creation of the European Collaborative Cloud through the ECOS project, and the Stradigraph project that is part of the CCC family that started the 1st of October and will continue till 2029. The Extended Matrix community is a place where the people working in that domain can take information or participate to the community, taking also information and finding resources to learn. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this presentation. This is so interesting to see that all the tools you presented are open access and that companies and professionals can work with it. So I think this is so important for the aims of our webinar today, and we have several companies also connected and that will learn from these experiences. So thank you so much for presenting all this work.
Let me just say that the company that worked in the IOSC is the 3D Research, that is a company, as a spin-off of University of Calabria, and they work in open source approach. So the code will be available soon within the H2IOSC project. So it's in the next week will be released, while EM tools and stratigraphy are already out on GitHub.
Okay, that's great. That's so important. Thank you for specifying also this information. And I see that also the companies here are giving a good feedback. So thank you for all taking active part in the discussion. So just for matter of time, let me go to the next speaker now, which is Alfonsina Pagano, my colleague at the CNR ISPC from Naples, and she will talk about the two topics, plural and diverse, which can be a new definition of the metaverse. So Alfonsina, you can introduce yourself and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. My presentation will be more romantic and I hope inspirational than the other one of my colleagues. So I immediately go on the point. Actually, 2 years ago, we started a project in Naples called Metaverse Lab. And the idea was to set up a space and also a place where we can work together with research infrastructure and creative and cultural industries. So the first question was how it is defined the metaverse and how can we define the metaversic experience in a way. And out of a very, not very huge, but not little benchmark we did it in these last 2 years, we came up with the idea of having some concept fixed. For sure, when we talk about metaverse, as already Augusto, my colleague, introduced, we talk about extended interaction. So multiple type and multiple wave of interact with object, with things, with tools, but also one to each other. The second concept was about mixing and including all the individual senses and perception, and working on social flow in terms of knowledge transfer, technological transfer, but also feeling transfer. So social flow in this sense. We thought that the best definition of metaverse, at least the best for us, that could include all the work done on the metaversic experience, of course, about cultural heritage. The metaverse can be of everything, but we worked on the cultural heritage sector, was the one of CAI of 2021, which is, of course, not the latest, but it could be accepted for our research infrastructure, was a space for new social communication with a higher degree of freedom for users to create and share their thoughts, ideas, and digital artifacts with a high immersion through virtualization. So lots of things that obviously it's a sort of a mixer of lots of ingredients. However, we talk about cultural contents. We work with cultural contents. We work with architecture, as CNR, but in general with the creative industries based in Naples. We work with buildings and historical monument, castle, so architecture, but as well as archaeological site. We work for example, with the Roman Empire, we work with neuralgic infrastructure in Sardinia, we work with crypts and other underneath structure. But we work also with Exile and paper-based. For example, we are working on the Codex Cospi, which is one of the 12 latest codes and ancient codes on Maya courses and rituals. We work also on tapestry and carpets and on ancient document. We work with ancient tradition, so something which is not tangible, with songs, but also with again, rituals in this sense. So, for example, agricultural oral tradition, but also languages. One of my latest projects is about the minority languages in Europe, for example, the Greek culture in the south of Italy and the Cornish in Cornwall. And finally, biodiversity. We are working with the Presidential Republic of Italy, and we are working on the biodiversity. So all the different type of cultural heritage asset in a way, and the typologies of information we would like to convey to the general public as the mission of the CNR needs to be in a way addressed according to the different context of experience or the different context of usage, as well as the different technology we have on the market up to now. So what to take into account, how we can address this content, and how to create an effective metaversic experience. For example, we have augmented reality base. We have worked a lot. I'm sure lots of the company here in the webinar using tablet or mobile devices. We have worked with holographic showcases, so holographic system that could project directly on the real object the virtual augmentation or the virtual images of themselves. We work directly on the physical surfaces through projector-based augmented reality. We have done the same for the Codex Cospi paper-based surface. But we have also created the digital twin, so something that can live on the web and can reproduce how it looks like today, for example, the neuralgic structure of Sardinia and how it could have looked in the past through a simple back and forth button. We worked also on the digital twin of an entire exhibition based on the framework Atom that Emanuel already presented. This is an open source framework developed inside our institute, and it's a visualization platform that can be enriched with information, images, video, whatever we would like to link. But we have also worked together with a Napolitan company, which is here today presenting in a couple of minutes. We have also worked on an augmented reality experience through a tracker and a tool-based device. Of course, the VR, which is, I mean, probably the most famous one and the commonly spread. I'm personally working in the last 5 years with tangible user interface, which is a very good example of mixing tangible or extensive touch-based experience with digital media and with interaction. And last but not least, of course, the extended reality experience where all the hybridization of media could collapse in a one singular experience, where single user and multiple user projection, audio, sensors, and infrared tools can live together. And here another example. So how this all becomes metaversic experience? We have to work on the design, of course. The design is essential and it is relevant even if at least for us, for our laboratory, the majority of the time, we always start working on the technology itself, and then we think about how to design. We need to do a step backward and say what we want to design for our final target. And of course, we have multiple targets. We cannot speak about only one singular target. We have to talk about multiple targets. And according to the multiple target and the different context of usage, we can then prototyping and design, and then select which one of the technology we have at our disposal can be useful for our final goal. In general, the design of a metaversic experience needs to be focused and to rely on the needs of the final user and on the emotion we would like to catch out of this experience. And only if we decide what we want our user to do and how we want them to act, it turns to be clear to us the definition of what to highlight in a way and how, so the functionality and how to deliver the experience. As I was saying you at the beginning of this speech, in 2023, with a great financing out of the Minister of Made in Italy and the enterprises in Italy, we were able, with the municipality of Naples and MEDITECH Competence Center, to set up a laboratory, one of the 5 laboratories of House of Emerging Technology in Naples. We set up the Metaverse Lab, which was a new way of making research about Metaverse, a laboratory for building immersive, interactive, but also sensorial and inclusive experience. The accessibility issue, the inclusiveness issue was central to us. Here, all the partners that actually belongs to this big consortium. The project is Infinity Mondi, Infinity Words by Giordano Bruno definition. The Metaverse Lab has a real house in Naples, in Real Albergo dei Poveri, in the city center, close by the station. Here it's a very quick video about the inauguration the last June at the Real Albergo dei Poveri. It's actually 1,000 square meters of space where the Metaverse Lab lives close by to the Storytelling Lab, the Web 3.0 Lab, and the Gaming Lab, in order to create collaborative and hybrid experience. Here is some example of, actually it's an open lab and it's also a hub for cultural and creative industries. So it's not a museum, it's not an exposition context, it's also an exposition to context, but it is an experience laboratory where we can build together. Okay, moving on, the Metaverse Lab has been set up according to this principle to create an experiential pathway, to work on hybridization of media, to work on the phygital approach. So what I was explaining you, something really tangible, touching, moving, pushing, and doing activity practically based on the learning by doing approach, and inspired by FAIR principle. We wanted and we want, since the case studies are not ended, to work with open data and to make a disposal to creative industry to not only the final output, but also the process, the protocol, the approach, and the midterm document in order to make clear our process. Here are some of the companies that we are working with: Mare Group, Protom, Conform, La BCD, and of course MEDITECH, which is the competence centers and partner of the Infinity Mondi project. The Metaverse Lab has 4 rooms. We have called them Island, from the online metaverse to the augmented reality metaverse, touching metaverse, and immersive metaverse. And the idea is to work on the small context, the web-based, which is actually not small, but it is small in terms of physical occupancy, until the immersive and dome experience, like you have seen in the last slides. How to design the most effective experience after 2 years, but actually after 10 years of experience, the CNR, and 2 years in the Metaverse Lab of the House of Emerging Technology, we came up with this, let's say, showstopper with this criteria. We have to work on requirements about experience itself. So well define the target, the expectation, and also the technological limitation, and the technological alphabetization. Work on the personal needs, so on the accessibility requirement. Work on the context where we are going to place this output and the digital installation we develop, on the type of experience and the type of interaction. Work a lot on the information requirement. So which is the cultural content we would like to fix? Which is the storytelling we would like to address? How is the delivery time? How long does it need to be the experience? Which is the type of content we would like to include? It's a VR experience, so 3D model based. It is a cartoon experience, so something more playful. It is a realistic and photorealistic experience, so with filming and panoramic acquisition, etc., etc. And finally, the technological requirement. We need to decide the type of device, the hardware, but also the maintenance, the computing power, the device supplies, but also the resolution and the type of final output. If it is for the web as a specific needs, if it is for a dome experience, an immersive VR experience as another resolution. How to make finally cultural heritage alive inside the metaverse. And in these 2 years, we could say that probably it's better to talk about metaverses with the plural, a plural significance, because the cultural heritage itself is plural. It's not a unique. It's a big container of different things, as I was presenting you at the very beginning. It's architectural, it's tangible, it's intangible, it's community, it's people, it's language, it's lots of things. And the same goes for metaverses. So probably now on, it's better to start talking about metaverses on a plural basis. And of course, the metaverse is a constellation of different and interconnected environments that can benefit from the integration and hybridization of media, which is not easy, I know, but it is really a unique way to shape something which is inclusive, engaging, immersive, and also effective in terms of knowledge transfer. Finally, if we can say how to work with metaverse from today on, it's for sure work on integrated media, and it's relevant probably the definition of a new figure, professional figure, which is the system integration, which is not very well spread, at least in Italy, but it is needed. Work on sensing, solidize all senses out of the technology, investigate new type of relation, and by the end, work on multiple and diverse output. In the Metaverse Lab, we have testified how the same content can be replicated in multiple versions. The underwater ancient city of Baia in the Gulf of Naples has been, let's say, applied for a VR experience, for an augmented reality experience, for an immersive experience. Obviously, the content is always the same, but it is shaped on a storytelling base and on an interaction base on multiple and diverse approach. So we can say that cultural content, which is the main issue of our work in a way, at least as for CNR, it's the cultural content are the solar panel of the metaverse. The cultural content enters the metaversic, let's say, a pipeline of work, and as output can be spread and diversified in multiple output according to the context of usage. Hope to have inspired you in a way. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alfonsina. And we are warming up the atmosphere by looking at different applications. And I was lucky enough to take part in the events that you were telling about. Okay, so I see that one of the speakers needs to go, so we will check later. And also we will have another webinar probably that will be in November. So probably we will also be able to recover one of the presentation of today. So now let me go to the next session of this day that is dedicated to SMEs experiences. And just in continuity with what Alfonsina was presenting, we have today two representatives from MEDITECH company, which is the competence center working in Naples for the House of Digital Technologies. Of emerging technologies, and Carmine Maffei and Sergio Castiglia will present the work of MEDITECH. So the title is The House of Emerging Technologies in Naples and its impact. So we will see some applications, some use cases, but also a little bit the activity that MEDITECH is doing in to benefit companies, SMEs working in, not only in Naples, but also remotely. So I would give the floor now to Sergio and maybe to Carmine, so as you want.
I'm Sergio Castiglia, who are an AR specialist and immersive technology specialist in MEDITECH Competence Center. In particular, MEDITECH is a technological coordinator of House of Emerging Technologies of Naples. I'm very happy to introduce you to Infinity Mondi, and Naples' new House of Emerging Technologies. What is the Infinity Mondi? It's a 15 million euro project funded by the Italian Ministry of Enterprises and Made in Italy. We are based in Real Albergo di Poveri, a beautiful 18th century building in Naples, and this project has a different partner, in particular partner public and private partnership led by the city of Naples. This project has a focus on cultural and creative industries and also on quantum communication technologies. Our offer includes training, research and develop, startup support, tech transfer, and social innovation. This is a partnership such as different academy, different university, such as University of Naples Orientale, University Naples Frederick II, team for connection 5G, and so much more. Also CNR ISPC. So let's talk about this matter. In Italy, cultural and creative industry make up 5% of the GDP and employ 1 million people. Digital tech is changing everything. It's bring new opportunities, but also challenges. And we need to help people and the enterprise adapt, collaborate, and innovate this business, because we offer access to tools, spaces, and expert support in the in particular in the Real Albergo di Poveri. Our goals are simple but powerful. Make Naples a creative tech city, supporting artists and cultural workers with digital tool. Use culture as an engine for growth, and especially in tourism and education, and work across key areas like jobs, training, inclusion, and urban revival. Our keywords and the topics, culture, identity, innovation, creative, and business. In particular, our offer for business, such as access to laboratory and the network for specialized to experience technologies first aid, support for develop and new products and services for cultural industry and creative industry. Specialized training and new enabling digital technologies and business incubation and acceleration program and open innovation and internationalization program. Carmine, what do you want explain another question, another topics about this?
Yes, Sergio, if you give me stage, I continue rather on other examples of this program in Italy. Okay. So since Alfonsina gave plenty of details on Infiniti Mondi, the House of Emerging Technologies of Italy, of Naples, sorry, I would like to highlight more details on the wider House of Emerging Technologies program. Essentially, it was a program set up by the Ministry of Enterprises to support innovation in cities, so to create laboratories and incubation hubs in Italian cities. And so this program is, the houses are led by the city public administration that provide addresses to key priority areas of the city. And there are 13 of such houses in Italy, but as much as 6 of them set out the cultural and creative industries as their priority areas. So it is not only Naples that is being highlighted by Alfonsina and by Sergio in terms of figures, in terms of policies, but also Torino, Cagliari, Pesaro, Prato, and Matera. So I'll go through quickly a few applications of immersive technologies in these houses. For instance, in Pesaro, they have a quite complex program of activities. For instance, how it is called, the sonosphere, so the sound sphere for 3D sound experiences, or the Dreaming Rossini. So they have this lyric festival dedicated to Rossini. So from a window in a building where Rossini lived, they provide pieces of opera, and these are recorded in 3D and can be accessed directly from YouTube with a 3D experience, or CodiTrip, which has been meant essentially for live 3D live streaming from events. So while it was conceived for school applications, actually this has been provided very valuable also in specific events, in public events. Another lab that is the D-Lab, the House of Emerging Technology of Cagliari in Sardinia, where they've focused a lot on XR applications. The lab allows for technologies for the acquisition, 3D acquisition, LiDAR and photogrammetry, with reconstruction of 3D models, the production of 3D applications, and one nice applications that they have developed. Let me see. Yes, it works. It is this sound garden from an artist, essentially rocks that are being carved in a way that when you scratch a rock on it, you can feel different sounds. Essentially, the application replicated this experience for everyone. and provided with additional and specific information about the experience. The nice thing about their study is also that they focused a lot on the social aspects of the interaction with the 3D glasses. The House of Emerging Technology of Turin instead has been moving on immersive technologies applied to the Turin National Automobile Museum, where they are setting up a project that is focusing on applications of technology in connected mobility and autonomous mobility and smart services for the city. But one aspect of it is about setting up a fantastic experience into the museum, so to make everything, how can I say, accessible, and through multiple screens and transparent screens, and you touch on the screen and you can have interactive activities on the wide screen that projects all over the room. And one other interesting thing is this Classic Cars Real Emotions program, where they recreated the experience and the immersive and haptic experience of being into classic cars. The House of Emerging Technology of Matera instead, okay, this is also full of videos. They focused more on creating the digital twin of the city of Matera, I mean the historical center of Matera, with the houses that were carved into the rock and were painted. And the point is not just about the use in 3D glasses, but if I'm checking, I mean, I'm going past a few slides. If I'm finding the right one, no, it is not the right one. It is about also creating gaming experiences through the 3D models to maximize engagement. Okay, I think this is the gaming experience indeed, to maximize engagement with the cultural heritage of the city. And Prato instead has focused more about industrial tourism, and they are creating, with a project that has been recently funded, they are creating and focusing on the cultural tourism, so creating a 3D application that allows to live the experience of the factory that has been repurposed as a museum, but you can do it while you're still visiting the town. I mean, so the point is they are creating totems and corners into the city where you can, with 3D classes, you can live the experience of the museum, so that, you know, in a sense, you are attracted towards the real museum that is outside the city center. And then, okay, Alfonsina told you quite a little bit of Naples, so I guess I wanted just to highlight how this specific program that was led, inspired by the Ministry of Enterprises, but has identified the city centers, the city administrations as the lead for the program, for the specific programs. If 6 out of 13 decided to focus on culture, clearly this is a very focus of local administration policies. Okay, that's all from me.
Thank you so much, Carmine. And thanks also to Sergio. I don't know if you want to add anything now, or it's complete from your side. So, yeah, I think so. Thank you really for all those information that are really useful for the companies, and it was a very good overview of also of the services that are provided at the House of Emerging Technologies. So this is a tool, say a set of tools, an infrastructure, and a place where companies can experiment together with researchers, with specialists, with technicians, all together. And what I see is also that there is not only tangible assets, tangible heritage, but also intangible that is taken into consideration. So this is so important. So I don't know, Sergio, if you want to conclude or let me know. It's fine like this.
This
Okay.
is the competent transfer. It's one of the service about the Infinity Mondi. You can sign up of the portal using the follow link portale.casatecnologienapoli.it formazione to discover the courses about the cultural heritage and digital business, or discover competitive advanced digital technologies, world of data. This is 4 topics about the courses of the tech transfer, the competence tech transfer. So some figures, for example, 1,200 square meters of lab and facilities, 5 high technologies, tech labs, open the culture and creative enterprises, 35 open access R&D project and use cases, 13 support startup and internationalization initiative, and 49 courses for each topics explained before. So this is our labs: metaverse, gaming and gamification, digital storytelling, Web 3.0, quantum communication. Alfonsina has told in particular before, and the lab metaverse. And there are use cases for each island explain that Alfonsina told this. So that's all. Thank you so much.
That's a lot.
This is the contact and website, official website, Casa Tecnologia Napoli.
Thank you very much, Sergio and Carmine, for this very informative overview of all the services offered. And for sure, this will be a starting point for companies watching this webinar. Also, they can go more in depth and learn more and more, also through the courses that MEDITECH and the House of Emerging Technologies provide. To learn and to experiment, and I hope that also the companies included in BRIDGESMEs will also benefit of the services, and we are open also as researchers and as an institute in collaboration with different realities in the area of Naples and also internationally to offer this support to companies. So thanks again, and now we go to the last speaker, last but not least, because we have Samuele Pozzobon from ABCD Edutainment company, and we have seen already something from the previous slides. It was you working with the public, working with the experimentation, but now we go really more in depth in this. And the topic of your presentation is inclusive metaverse, zSpace, AR, VR for accessible cultural heritage edutainment. So this is a very new important topic, edutainment. You will tell us what does it mean and how it can be applied for enhanced learning. Thank you, Samuele.
Thank you, Antonia. Okay, let me share. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be here. First of all, on behalf of your CEO, Nicola D'Ambrosio, I must convey his apologies for his absence. He's currently engaged in various research projects with the university, which unfortunately prevents him to be here today, but he wants to extend his deepest thanks to CNR and ISPC for this invitation and this great opportunity. I am Samuele Pozzobon, a technologist and expert trainer at BCD Edutainment from many years. And today I want to present what are our idea of inclusive metaverse, zSpace, AR and VR for accessible cultural heritage edutainment. And I want to show you how the metaverse can and must be accessible, a tool to expand access to culture and not to limit it. Before I start with a live demonstration, where I always do better than a classical PowerPoint demonstration, I want to share with you not only what is a BCD, but especially what are the mission of the BCD of our company that is based on 3 pillars. The first is the promotion and enforcement of digital culture, then the promotion and of technological solution to support innovation, and the last but not least, the promoting of production, creation and sharing of the content in the teaching and learning process. These 3 pillars is really important because from the beginning we understand that we don't want to put the technology in first place, but the technology is an instrument, a way, and the content and how you use the technologies in a better way is the most important one. And for that, we approach many technology from the beginning with our scanner, 3D scanner, our patented 3D scanner, to first interaction with first application of metaverse, to VR headset, but then we really found a core technology that is zSpace, that really give at the immersive free from use experience, and we liked it so much that not only we became an exclusive distributor in Italy, but in the past 12 years we really going deep to understand not only how it works, but how we can work with this technology in school, in university, and for example, in a cultural heritage ambient. And for doing that, we take the concept, we bring us the concept of the inclusive metaverse, that for us accessibility and inclusion are not an afterthoughts, but they are the starting point. And with that, zSpace really shine. Okay, I just show you. So I start showing you the machine and one of our project. I have so many tabs open. I hope this space is, I think it's really hating me right now. And
So you're live working now.
yes, I'm live, and like I said, is what I prefer because I really the first fruiter and passionate of this technology, so I really like to use it and to show how to use it. This is zSpace Inspire, one of the last version of this technology, and why we really focus on inclusive and accessible technology, because with this device that as you can see is presented like a normal computer. Not only you can go over the geographical and cognitive bias that often prevents access to, for example, historical sites or cultural artifact, but you can do it in a very easy way for everyone. Why? Because when you sit in front of this space, and you can sit in every place, in a museum, in a house of emergencies technologies, in your classroom, in your house, every place. You just sit in front of the screen of this space, and then through tracking camera. So they use the tracking technology, the heavy tracking technology, like you do every day with your smartphone for unlock it, for example. But in this case, this heavy tracking camera, what do? They follow your focus, they follow your eyes. So not only this space know where you are in the space in front of the screen, but especially it know where you are looking for. Okay, and with that, it can create a really 3D massive effect that is like an holographic effect, and so you can really see. You can really enjoy the experience of 3D model, of 3D science, or immersive place, like you are inside that place, in the place is in front of you. And for that, you need just to use this control instrument that is we call the stylus, and let you to navigate, to interact with your hand. So from the beginning, we focus that for use this technology, you just need to use your eyes and your hand, nothing else. You don't need to learn keyboard combination, how the software work just for turn an object, because you just simply to point an object, grab with your hand that is pushing this button, and when you grab the object, do what you do in real life. You want to see more close? Okay, put out the screen. So I put out the screen. You want to see more big? You just make more bigger. Okay, wow. And you just look in front of you. I'm looking right now here. Okay, it is in front of my eye. So this is the inclusion, because like you see, I don't have to equip anything. I just use directly my eyes and my hands. It is so easy to enjoy, in this case, this cultural 3D model, but even image, I can put out the screen and have a bigger and have create a virtual classroom like you see in the films, like Iron Man or something else. And of course, this is even very stimulate the curiosity. And for make a practical example of the last intervention, I want to show you the 3D model of reproduction of house of imaging technology in Naples. In particular, we are seeing the space that in Real Albergo dei Poveri are created, the ISO of immersive technology that Alfonsina Pagano speech before, and I just not only put in front of myself and see every room how is built, how is composed, how have been reconstructed, because in this case, this model is a 3D scanning that CNR are doing in the place. Okay, so we use an information that CNR needed to organize how they can project the different space, and this information, this data, we put inside, in this case, the metaverse of this space. And for example, we can share in every school. We can share in every place where this space is used. And this is the accessible part. So I show you another view that we call navigation view. Okay, 1 second. So I can show you really how we can not only insert the 3D model, but we can create a storytelling about what we are saying. In this case, from the initial 3D scan model of the spaces of House of Imaging Technology, we put the device, the final furniture that you can really find if you go in Naples in the House of Imaging Technology, and now you can show you virtually, and so you can go to the first ISO number 1 of online metaverse, and see what are inside, what is in this case the space is a big LED wall. You can, if you want, hear even an audio, a description about this ISO. So you can really put many, not object, but content. Okay, so we return to the third pillar of our mission: create content and use it. Okay, so create content, use it. So this content is not only become a visualization of the 3D model, but with other content like image, like audio, like storytelling, it becomes something more immersive. Okay, and like you say, then we can go, for example, to second ISO. Okay, second one second is in the first place. Then is the third ISO with the VR set, for example, the hand gloves for virtual hand gloves, and another one. And this is, I repeat, a practical example, but we don't stop at this, but we focus much more in the partnership because we really understand that is very important to collaborate, to have a sharing of what us know, as knowledge, but especially what others know, and to create something together. For that, for example, I show you another practical example. We create something really deep in cultural heritage, and have another activity. Now I open. For example, this one is another type of content that you can find inside the House Imagine technology, and is about a plumb, a fistula that you can find by SMS, because I want to show you something that we find in our process of create this type of content. I show you the screen. In this case, like you see, we have this type of object that is a fistula, a part of the plumb structure of the old houses, and we make even here a storytelling with image because they are in description on the 3D model. But with CNR, we found a problem. The problem are that the software that we're using for taking this type of content have not the fidelity, the image fidelity that we really want, or we really need to have a real digital twin. Okay, so that people in other part of the world can really see the real one heritage cultural content. And for that, what we do? We create a new project inside the current project that is aimed to really have a near perfect image fidelity. And I want to show you the difference that is really, really big, because this one that you are looking right now is the original one, okay? And like you see, yes, we can see the texture, we can see how it was modeled, and here you can have a little perception of the inscription, okay? But if I open in another one, in the new software, in the new version of the software, okay, now I'm sharing, you can see how the collaboration and the partnership with CNR, in this case, let us to improve a lot a part that we don't have the acknowledge to understand it. And like you see, is a real big difference. So we really go to
yes. Super realistic.
Super realistic, yes. Very super realistic. And I can assure you, here in front of me is more than super realistic, because I can really with my hand read the inscription. So it's amazing,
and I had the occasion to test it, so I can confirm it's really. You lose yourself in the trial, in looking at from all sides.
Yeah, you expand your curiosity. You want to see more. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. One more.
Yes.
And this is what we intend with inclusive and accessibility metaverse, because everything that the other intervention before me said is correct, but we want to do something more about how you can use it, and for everyone in every place. You at your house, for every children, for every guys, even guys with disability, or guys that can't go physically in that place. We don't want that they lost this precious content, this really beautiful immersive content. And before I quit, I want just to show you the last information that today our company has grown so much. I'm thankful to the collaboration, like I said before, like the CNR one, like the University of Federico II that on Naples, that from 2016 create a research project with us from medical world to engineering to cultural heritage. So it's very important, and today we are present in over 500 school and institute in all Italy, and even outside Italy with this type of technology that we bring every day to your work.
Great. Thank you so much, Samuele. It was really amazing, your presentation. And we have seen in reality how it works with your tools. Yeah, really, really nice. Yeah, so we have seen some applications in this education or entertainment or edutainment, as we want to call it. And it's also it's linked with the previous lesson, let's say, that we had from other speakers talking about the learning potential of those applications. So you said that you had an impact in schools with your company, and there are many different sectors and environments in which those technologies can be used. So not only for cultural heritage, but also for other applications. So of course we have presented some heritage applications, but I would invite also the participants of this webinar to open up the imagination and to think about possible implementation, application of all those technologies that we have seen today, also for tourism sector, for gaming, different cultural and creative industries, and of course the cultural aspect, the heritage part is for us very important. I think that all the experiences that we have seen today have also shown the collaboration between the research, the industrial environment, technology, and companies and service providers. So it's really an ecosystem that is building in not only in Naples but internationally, of course. Yeah, so it's super interesting to see how this all is developing also to benefit companies today, to make them more competitive worldwide. So Samuele, thanks again for your intervention, and I thank all the speakers of today. Please feel free to contact
Thank you very much.
us. Thank you. Feel free to contact us for any more information that you would like to have. There's just one final comment I will try to read before we leave. I think that the use of these technologies and the tools presented and implemented for tangible heritage objects can be used to experiment with new ways of interacting with intangible heritage. Yes, I completely agree. Participation in a musical event or opera that is also declared as World Heritage brings with it not only audiovisual but also emotional content. Yes, exactly. So thank you, Silvia, for highlighting this. And based on sharing the experience, but also the spaces dedicated to hosting it, which are themselves work of art. Yes, and interaction of people with disabilities, not only motor, but also auditory or visual. So yes, all those aspects were actually touched by our speakers of today, and it's so important to see also the inclusiveness that is key in the Industry 5.0 environment. So the human-centered approach really includes the aspect of inclusiveness. So it's super, super important. So I would ask to the previous speakers if you want to add anything or to answer the comments in any way. I see, Augusto, you're still there.
I am. I just can add a little hint to this last comment, and that is we are experimenting in this moment ways of recording, 3D recording for the intangible heritage. In particular, there are a range of new technologies which with different levels of and of accuracy. And as you don't need an extreme accuracy for all the things, but only for some items, and you can have just a more speed, a more faster way of recording for some elements of the landscape. This combined approach can be used for intangible cultural heritage, and we are making some experiments in this sense. Maybe soon we will be able to present something for this.
Thank you, Augusto. Yes, I hope so. Yeah, so anyone else who want to add anything in the conclusion? If not, I think we have reached our 2 hours of webinar. So I would thank you so much for now, and still inviting you to reach out to us for anything. We remain available for cooperation with any one of you. Thank you very much.